Well, that's good. Somebody log in.
Afternoon, and welcome to our scheduled zoning board of appeal meeting. It is our custom that we begin by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. If I could ask you guys to stand and face the flag. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to speak on public comment and have not filled out one of these forms, those forms will be placed. Public comment is up to 3 minutes, so just to be reminded. Are we good with all notification?
Yes.
Adoption of the agenda.
I move we adopt the agenda as submitted.
I'll second it.
So it's been properly made and second. All in favor of adopting the agenda? Signify. Pass approval of the April 24th meeting. Have everyone had an opportunity to review those?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, we'll move, can I get someone? Motion to adopt.
I move we approve the minutes of April 24th, 2025.
Second it.
So it's been properly made and second to approve the April 24th meeting. All in favor? Moving on to our agenda, Miss Melissa Holman is here for a special use. How are you?
My name is Melissa Ullman, and I'm requesting a short rental permit for my home at 81 Sea Pines Drive in St. Helena. I have no covenants or restrictions on my home, and I plan to have it professionally managed by Tide Watch Vacation Rentals. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for the applicant? I've seen the recommendations from the county, so would you like to get up and say something, Ms.?
I'm good.
All right, well, with that being said, no questions.
Any public
Is there any public comment for, well, we do have one, John Pace? Yeah, right here on this podium, please.
My name is John Pace, and I live at 205 McTier Drive. And although I don't share the same road as the applicant does, my house is directly right beside the applicant. We're separated by a few trees, a couple of palmetto trees, but basically pretty open. I bought this house on 4/25 of this year. I retired from work 3 years ago, and I have diligently searched for a place that was peaceful and calm. I've been in construction all my life. It's a hectic life. I've looked forward to this for 25 years. And so we made a decision to buy this house. We were told that there were no short-term rentals. So it played heavily in our decision to buy this house. And we haven't even knocked the dust off the boxes yet. And then driving one day, I noticed, or back in behind the house, I noticed there was a sign in the woods. So I walked back there, and it was a sign of notification for this hearing tonight. Well, the hearing had already passed. I think it was 5/25. So then I received the letter, which I was excited that I'm able to be here tonight to at least voice my opinion about it. And what I worry about is the same worry anybody would have. When you have rental units, everybody knows it's usually a gathering of people to come celebrate something, and you know it's usually more than one family, or at least they have guests and everything else. So we have a house with 5 bedrooms. We could have 10 or 15 people in there, maybe more. And usually it's a celebration, so people have a tendency, as everybody knows, they have a tendency to be loud and have a party, and that's fine, I understand that. But just the thought of what could happen and how it could get so out of hand if this is a request is approved, it just makes me very nervous. Almost makes me sick to my stomach to think about it. That I made a mistake and spent a lot of money, my life savings on a place, just to find out that I could potentially live next door to every weekend having new people come in and a lot of people, and the midnight parties and noise, radio, music, and this is all, I'm not saying it'll happen, but it's a potential, big potential for it. And so I want y'all tonight, as you cast this vote, to think about this area that I call home now. And it is my home, it's where I live. I'll be there full time. And I want you to think about if this was you sitting in my place. And cast your vote, please, with a lot of consideration, because sometimes on a board, I think you can say it's just a yes or no vote, but this thing actually has the possibility to really impact my life, in my life with my children. I don't know the petitioner. I don't know her. I don't know any of my neighbors. I haven't even been here long enough to hardly introduce myself. So with that being said, I just kind of want to think about, or y'all to think about the the problems that go along with this. You know, a lot more traffic on a dirt road, people potentially staying up later at night, groups of people coming and going. And I just hope that when you cast your vote, you really think about it. And I ask you to cast a no vote for this. And I think that if this vote is allowed, I think that I can almost guarantee you with certainty you're going to have a line of people applying for short-term rentals. I mean, it's like these corporations buy a house and they just rent it out. So a lot of times I might not have any control over what's being done with or anything else just because of the owner and wherever they may be. But the other thing, the other people in the area are going to be requesting short-term rental on their house, whether they use a short-term rental or not. It's a selling point. You know, it's income for the property. And when a real estate agent lists that you're able to rent your house and get money from that, that's attractive to a lot of people, especially in today's world. I mean, this seems like that's what everybody's doing, you know, corporations and people buying houses to rent. And with that comes the problems that everybody knows. So I really would stress on y'all, please vote no for this. And, you know, vote no for the peace and tranquility that area has, and respect that, please, because, you know, this is one area of Beaufort County, I can tell you, it's a very peaceful, remote area, and it's just a wonderful place to be. And I just hope you'll vote no on it. And I appreciate you giving me an opportunity to talk about it. So,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Is there anyone else for public comment for this item? If not, we close public comment. I would like to let you know that we are sympathetic, this board is sympathetic to your concerns. And, you know, one thing that we can do is, if this were to be approved, we can add conditions to that. So that's why we're here, you know. So, I mean, you are one of the neighbors there, so you're here tonight that we can add some conditions if it were to take that route. Do anyone have any questions for the
I have a question for
Mr. John?
for the applicant. Ms. Allman, in your letter that you wrote to us, you said that you plan to spend this summer and fall in Ohio. So are you just planning on doing a short-term rental for this summer and fall, or is this a permanent thing?
Yes, I plan to be back and forth. I love the winters down there.
I don't think you answered my question. So is this just for this summer and fall, or does it mean that it's going to be off and on for as long as you own the house?
Oh, it would be off and on.
Okay.
I'm having trouble to afford the house and still spend time here with my family.
Okay.
I have a question for the applicant also. Do you eventually plan to move here permanently?
I have lived there permanently for the last 7 years. I'm finding that I want to spend a little more time in Ohio with my family and grandchildren, and the drive is getting more difficult for me, so to rent would allow me to be a little more flexible.
Okay, thank you.
Have you considered long-term rental?
I would like to add that the house next door had been a rental for the first 5 years that I lived there, and it was never a problem. I think if it's managed properly, that people will be respectful of noise and the hours that they're outside.
I had a question for the county. In Ms. Ullman's note, she said that there are 3 sea turtle nests that she found on the property last year. Would there be any kind of lighting restrictions that would be required?
Yeah.
I didn't see any in the recommendations. And what
That to it.
yeah, I guess you could give us the specific site for any of that if it were.
I have shades that must be drawn and lights out, at 10 o'clock, and if you're outside, you have to have the red light and a flashlight. Make sure that everybody knows. I had the first nest this year.
Provision 5.11.50.
I have a pen.
I do.
Okay.
Here you go. You got it? Oh, okay. 5.11.50 C and 2.
So I think you said earlier that the house next door was being rented and there wasn't any issue. Was that a long-term rental that you were referring to or short-term?
Yeah, it was short-term rental. It was rented quite a bit. It was nice to meet new people there. It's, can't get over on that beach. It's nice to see people enjoying the beach.
All right.
I think the neighborhood can be safer with more people around that are, well, I was there full-time. A lot of neighbors aren't.
No, we have closed public comment, but I will allow you that opportunity to go ahead and say what it is that you have to say.
Sure. You have to go up to the mic.
Yeah, you can, to the podium.
When, I appreciate the opportunity. When we bought the house had been rented all summer to one person from the sellers. And also, so I mean, it was not a short term in the fact that it went on for a couple of months or longer. I think it was actually all summer. He'd actually been there maybe even on the year before. But then the other thing, the petitioner's house is also listed for sale right now, so.
Thank you.
So any new owner would have to
They'd
just
have to reapply.
reapply.
Well, they wouldn't come back to the ZBOA. They would have to zoning permit to do, because you have already approved.
All right, so with that being said, we have heard from the applicant and the county. May I have someone to place a motion on the floor?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion. I move that we go ahead and approve the special use permit for short-term rental after review of the guidelines set forth in Division 7.2.130. Delta of the Community Development Code.
I would, make a friendly amendment to the motion that it's subject to the lighting conditions found in 5.11.50 subsection C, number 2.
So there is a motion on the floor to approve the special use permit. Is there a second?
Well, we have the amendment.
I'll second the amendment.
Okay, so it's been approved and the amendment has been second.
And I'll second the original.
So with that being said, there is a motion on the floor to approve the special use as well as the amendment to the special use. Seconded. So all in favor of approving the special use signify by raising your hand. None opposed. So it has been approved with those conditions. Next on the item, Mr. Robert and Tony Aldrich. still need to be here? Hillary?
Good afternoon. My name is Ashley Eastman. I'm from Eastman Marine Construction. I'm here with Mr. Aldridge. He's called me and requested a bulkhead. He has some erosion in his backyard, and it's pretty severe. It started a lot in 2016 with Hurricane Matthew. He lost a lot of trees. I have aerial photos from 2016, 2017, and today that prove that the trees are gone. There's nothing holding the plantings back, and he has some severe erosion, which compromises the buffer zone. The buffer zone's a 50-foot zone from DHEC's critical line, usually to the edge of the house. Now, currently today, there's only
Do anyone have any questions for the applicant?
Did you read the county's recommendation?
I did, yep.
Could you comment on that?
Absolutely.
Any comments you have in reply?
So their list of recommendations, the summary of the request, they say requesting a variance, and they say it get denied by DHEC. It didn't really get denied. It didn't qualify for erosion at the critical line. Next one says analysis is requesting a variance to construct a garden wall within the river buffer. Code requires all bulkheads receive approval from OCR, and OCR was denied. They didn't really deny, they just said it didn't qualify for erosion at the critical line, which is their jurisdiction. The erosion is actually landward of the critical line, which is not in DHEC's jurisdiction. The next one down that says history of the project. They say the property is located in Moss Creek planned unit development, platted in 1986. There does not appear to be any bulkheads or riprap structures approved for any of the lots in this location. There are, however, about 6 bulkheads to the left of this man's house, on the same street next door. And they said there's exceptional conditions. The exceptional condition to this area here is it has a northeast facing, tidal surge, storm surge, stuff like that, and he gets hammered in certain storms. And then the issue with flooding, it's not a flooding issue that he's having, it's a tidally induced erosion issue. Because right now his whole yard is sand. Every time the tide comes up, it just takes a little bit of sand out and it's filling the marsh with all his sand.
Was this backfilled with sand at some point?
It was a lot before they built the house, but now it's washed. It wasn't backfilled with sand. Sand was the existing material on site.
Okay, now, did you say there are bulkheads, 6 bulkheads to the left of this property?
Yeah, there's one empty, there's one that doesn't have one, and I think there's 6 to the left of that run in a row, each lot.
So does the property that's to the left of this property here that's in question, is there a bulkhead there?
No.
What about the difference between putting the bulkheads and the natural berm that's mentioned with natural vegetation? What would be the differences?
Well, I mean, the berm is effective in some areas, but the berm is obviously not working now because they have dirt there now, but it's losing. They just get hammered with all the storms that come through with all the wave action from hurricanes and hard storms. It's not as effective a solution. We're trying to restore the buffer zone and effectively save his house.
So the majority of this is marsh, isn't it?
There's marsh there, yes, but that critical line is marked out in the marsh, so it doesn't have erosion there. The erosion is actually back inside the buffer zone.
They haven't reestablished the critical line?
They won't, it's good for 5 years. They won't reestablish it.
So y'all would put the bulkheads and then refill?
Yes. Restoring the buffer. Because he's willing to pay the money to restore, put a bulkhead in, put trees in, replant the buffer zone so we can keep it restored. Because right now the buffer's only 30 feet from his house. We try to keep a 50-foot buffer zone is what most of the county is. And we want to get back to that if we could. We're not asking for the whole 50 feet, but we want to go back as far as 1 foot behind the critical line to restore it.
So how far is the proposed bulkhead from the house?
About 40 feet. Got some pictures that might say a lot.
This is one of those photos that you have in your applications where it look like a palmetto trees there. Is that the 40 feet?
How many trees is, that's where the erosion is today.
So what you're showing, though, if I'm reading this correctly, you're proposing the bulkhead on the other side of the critical line in some places.
It's landward of the critical line.
No, it's toward the water of the critical line.
Up on the very top, it says DESBC on critical line.
Right, and if you follow that, and when you're about, well, you can come look, it's right here close to a 12-inch palmetto. It's quite a ways landward of the critical line's landward of the proposed bulkhead. All the way down, from there all the way down. Because the critical line is shown with a long line and 2 dots.
Comes into the lot.
What's that?
It comes into the lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
All
see
right,
it?
I see what you're talking about. Yeah.
About where it says proposed bulkhead, the critical line is landward.
I mean, it really starts
way.
even at the very top.
They're even there, and then it's really landward all the way down.
Yeah.
Well, the critical line is 1 foot in front of the bulkhead all the way down. The tip of that arrow,
No, it's not.
the tip of that arrow touches that solid line. That solid line is the
It's
critical
not the
line.
solid
It's
line.
not the solid line, it's the line with 2 dots.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Solid line is the line of the bulkhead.
It goes past, the arrow goes past that dotted line. That's an elevation line. Yes, it does.
Yeah, it
That's an
does. It
elevation
goes to
line.
this.
It goes past that, the tip of that arrow goes past the dotted line. Just a
I
tiny
see where
bit.
it follows.
Yeah, that's,
the critical line?
this,
Yeah.
or is this 2 on the top of the bank?
Elevation line. That's elevation 6.
Yeah, I mean, elevation lines are total dash.
That arrow goes past the dotted line, touching that solid line. That's the critical line. Dotted line, not critical line. Dotted line.
Signed off on this?
Yes.
No, they
Well,
didn't.
they didn't sign off on it because they,
Then they need to sign off on
well,
it.
they won't sign off on it if we're not building at the line,
They need to sign the critical line, though.
that they certified it.
No, they didn't.
Well, I have a signature on it.
Or you didn't.
I'll send it to you. But the bulkhead is effectively going 1 foot behind the critical line.
Yeah, I do see if that's the critical line. That's it does.
You're saying the critical line is that 6,
No, because that is not an elevation line. Elevation lines they don't have the little dot.
Right, they're just
Elevation
dash.
lines are dash, dash,
If you look
dash.
at the end of that line, it says 6.0.
That's the critical line.
That's the elevation.
Then you gotta prove to us where the critical line
That
is.
6.0 is an elevation mark.
No, it's not.
Look at the next line out, it says 4.3.
No, it's not. Because if you look at all the elevation lines,
It says 4.8,
they
all
are.
those dotted
look at-
lines.
Look, keep going, and 5.0 is right on top
This is elevation
of that
markers.
dash line.
Yeah, this is the
Right on
D.
top of the dash dot line.
If you look here, these are
Elevation lines are
6.0.
not what you're saying.
3.9.
Yeah.
All the dotted lines are elevation lines.
No, they're not.
All the line is the critical line, Hillary. It is.
This-
So,
says DES
so you're
critical
saying,
line.
what about the 7.0 elevation line?
an
Why
elevation.
isn't that dot dash?
It is. Look at the 7.0.
No, it's not. The 7.0?
Yes.
Dash, 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 dash.
Yeah.
It's all dash.
And we're talking about the dot dash line, which is the critical line.
It's not. No, I'm sorry.
I
don't-
think we should table this until you bring the surveyor here
Okay.
to clarify.
Exactly.
Those are elevation lines. Look at
They
the.
are not. The dot dash is not a critical line. It's not
not
an
an
elevation
elevation
line. Because none of them that you see, 7, you see 5, you see 8, does not have the dot.
So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna table this until we get clarity from the surveyor, okay?
Okay.
All right,
And signed by OCRM.
Yep. Okay.
okay. Thank you, sir. So whenever you, receive those information, just let the county know and we get you back, on the board. So may I get someone to make that motion?
I move we table this for, until the critical line is clarified and signed by DES
So it's been properly made in
and the
second.
surveyor.
I'll second the motion.
So it's been properly made in second. So all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Cecil?
So did you vote?
Yeah, he did. He's in favor of.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. The next item, which is item 10, Richard and Jennifer requesting a special use permit.
My husband, Richard Mevia, and I are requesting a special use permit for a short-term rental for our property located at 116 Francis Jones Boulevard on Defusky Island.
Oh, no, not one sign.
I'm assuming that there is no covenants or restrictions that would prohibit you.
That's correct.
Okay. Are there any questions for the applicant? So we don't have any questions for you.
I have one question. Who's going to manage it?
We have a local property manager on the island that's going to manage it, Casey Haley.
Are there any other questions? All right, thank you. We have the county's recommendation. So with that being said, not unless Hillary, you would like to say something.
I'll recommend approval.
Okay. So with that being said, is there anyone that would like to place a motion on the floor? Oh, before we do
We
that,
are?
we do not have any public comment up here, but is anyone here for public comment? If not, we'll close public comment. So,
I move we
Second.
Second.
okay. So it's been a motion on the floor to approve, and it's been properly made in second. All in favor? So it's been approved. Thank you. Next on the agenda, Michael and Andrea Dawson.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
As the representative of Michael and Andrea Dawson, I will be reading this request on their behalf, okay? My name, I'm sorry, is Lily, Lillie Harris. We respectfully submit this letter to request a special use permit to allow for limited vacation rental use of our family home located within the Dale Cultural Protection Overlay District. As native residents of the area and graduates of Battery Creek and Beaufort High Schools, our roots in this community run deep. The primary purpose of our home is to maintain a strong, consistent presence near our aging parents and extended family. I hope they realize that they are aging parents also. But anyway, our family of 5, including 3 children aged 17, 12, and 7, makes regular visits to stay connected to our loved ones and to preserve our personal ties to the place we have always called home. The proposed rental activity is secondary to our primary use of the home and is intended solely to help subsidize the ongoing costs of home ownership, upkeep, and long-term preservation of the property. Our goal is to maintain this property as part of our family's legacy while contributing to the vibrancy and continuity of the local culture. This request is consistent with allowances made in our areas under the same or similar cultural protection overlay, including St. Helena Island. We are committed to following all relevant zoning, safety, and community standards, and to ensuring that our use aligns with the goals of cultural preservation and responsible stewardship that the overlay was designed to support. We thank you for your time and consideration, and we respectfully ask for your support in granting this exception to allow us to responsibly maintain our family home and connection to the community. Michael and Andrea Dawson.
Who will be managing the property?
Michael Dawson,
And he lives in Georgia?
yes,
So what happens if there's problems?
they call me.
So you're managing the property?
I guess you can say that.
Have you had the opportunity to review the recommendations from the county?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Is there any more questions for the applicant? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
We've seen the recommendations from the county, so with that being said, I get a motion to, someone to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the special use permit for the short-term rental.
Second.
The motion to approve and second. All in favor? So it's been passed. Thank you, Ms. Harris. All right. Oh, man, hopefully there wasn't any public comment for this item. If that, so,
Nobody in here, so.
well, just want to make sure. Is there any old business? New business? Adjournment. I get someone to.
I move that we adjourn. Jane? And who?
So it's,
Evan?
so it's been properly made and second. All in favor? All right. Thank you, guys.
So we just need to keep Aldridge and then the rest can go away.